Alright, so welcome to part 2 of Kwik 4276 tutorial. We are going to start out our instructions. We are working with pieces 1, 2, and 3, and these are the main pieces. The main piece, meaning your outside fabric for piece number 1 and piece number 2, and then you only have one piece for piece number 3. So what we are doing for the main piece of number 1, so I'm going to set my lining aside. This is the piece that has my thermolam. So you have your long zipper lines here. You're reinforcing those lines. So you're sewing down, across, and back up, and you're doing the same thing here. So you're sewing down, across, back up, and then with this here at the top, you're going to cut here and then diagonal, right? And you'll see me doing this in the video. What I'll do, I'll take it to the sewing machine, sew it, and then I'll come back to the table and cut what I need to cut and show you guys what you need to cut. All right, set that aside. So that's step number 1. We're going to reinforce our zipper lines, and then we're going to reinforce the top part here, and that's for piece number 1. So for piece number 2, I'm doing this for my main piece for piece number 2, the piece that has the thermolam on it. So you're going to take this to the sewing machine, and you are going to stitch here. You're going to down, across, back up, and then you're going to cut those lines, but not cutting through your stitching. You're also, these 2 circles on both sides, I'm going to stitch from one circle to the next circle. Alright, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to reinforce the top, down, across, back up, down on both sides, and then we'll cut a split in the middle of this, in the center, but don't cut through the stitching here. Alright, and that's for the main piece. Set your linings aside. We'll be working with that later on in the pattern. Got piece number 1, piece number 2, and piece number 3. Alright, so for piece number 3, basically what we're going to do, we're going to fold down this top edge to make a casing. So you have a line here, a fold line, so you're going to fold it down. Ouch. Fold it down, you're going to make a casing. So what you're going to do, you're going to fold down about 1/4 an inch, and then fold down the rest on that folding line to make your casing. So you also are going to need the elastic that you cut, because you're going to put the elastic through, and then once you put your elastic through these 2 dots here, you're going to sew those in place to hold your elastic in place. And then we are going to add our pocket to piece number 1. Alright, I know I'm going through all of this and you're like, what in the world? But I am going to show you this step by step. Alright, I just kind of wanted to do like an overview of what we'll be doing with pieces 1, 2, and 3. Alright, so let's get to it. Alright, so I got everything sewn or reinforced. So now, with this little square here, you are going to cut down the center here, and it shows you how to mark it on your pattern piece. So you cut the center, not all the way, and then you cut to the triangle. So don't cut through your stitches, so be careful not to cut through your stitches. Alright, so now that looks like this, and this is piece number 1. Alright, so for piece number 2, you're going to cut from this corner to this corner where your stitches are, from that corner to where your stitches are. So cutting diagonal here and here. Don't cut through your stitches. Close as you can, but don't cut through your stitches. Alright, so you should have cut it open like that. And then for your 2 where you sew between the notches, I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to find the 1/2 inch mark, because this looks like it's about 1 inch. So I'm going to take my ruler, find the 1/2 inch mark, mark it, and I'm going to mark, and then I'm just going to cut just to my stitching. Alright, do the same thing on this side. Find the 1/2 inch mark, and don't cut through your stitching. Alright, now take piece number 1 and your pocket. And you should have made your casing. So what I did, I folded down about 1/4 inch, and then I folded over to the fold line, and that's where I sewed, because we're making a casing. So first thing you want to do before you grab your main piece is put your elastic through. Try not to poke myself, because I'm really good at poking myself. Okay. Right, take your elastic. I'm just using a safety pin, whatever you use, a bodkin, and just feed it through your casing. Be careful, don't let the other end of your elastic come out. And I know I said in the first video that the pattern envelope should tell you how long your elastic should be. Alright. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put some pins on the end. Remember you had some dots on here? Put some pins there, because that's where you're going to sew to make sure that your casing stays in place. So you should have had 2 dots on the ends of your pocket piece. I'm just going to put 2 pins, because you need to sew that in place. Alright. All right, so I closed up the pocket where the elastic openings, so the elastic won't come out. So now you're gonna place this with right sides facing. This is the bottom of your bag, right? And this is piece number 1 I'm working with, and the pocket piece number 3. So what you're going to do, you're going to place them with right sides facing. You have 1 notch here on your pocket. You have 2 notches here. So the 1 notch is going to go with right sides facing to the 1 notch here. All right. Now there's a slit here. All right. This just lets you know that when you place this with right sides facing and you sew this up, when you fold this over, the notch on your pocket should match the notch here. All right. So you have 1 dot here, 2 here. Make sure you're placing the 1 dot right sides facing on this dot here. And you have 2 dots over here. So this 1 dot here, right sides facing. And a pin. And what you're going to do, because there's also a dot here, remember, what you're going to do, you're just going to pin, and you're going to sew from here to here. All right, so you're just sewing one side of your pocket to your bag. Your dots and your notches are the key to this pattern. If you don't line up your dots and notches right, you will end up angry. And sewing is supposed to be fun. You're not supposed to be angry. And if you get angry, just put it to the side for a little while. Right, so I'm just going to take it to the sewing machine and sew. There's my dot. So up and just sewing this in place. Right? All right, now you're going to flip this over, and your notch here should match on the bottom, and your 2 dots should match over here. All right, so you're just going to sew this in place. Right, once you sew this in place, then just baste the bottom so it stays in place. All right, guys, so you have your pocket attached. And one thing I forgot to say at the sewing machine, when you stay stitched all the way across the bottom. All right, so that is it for part 2. For part 3, we'll start working on our zipper pockets for the front of the bag, or our zipper pocket. There's only one. And then we'll do our zipper pocket also for the back of our bag. All right. I will see you in the next video.